Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, Magnetic Reversal News, Sacred Geography, and Shinrin Yoku, bringing you a grand solar minimum update Monday, November 7th, around 2 p.m. Mountain Time 2022. An M5.2 solar flare from active region 3141 unexpectedly shot off the sun. This is about 24 hours ago. Quite a significant event, but very small CME. We're also keeping a close eye on Tropical Storm Nicole, headed its way to the Grand Bahama and West Palm. But the big story, heavy snow in Washington State equals thousands waking up Monday without power across Puget Sound. Keep calm. It's boom time. The snow totals were epic. Some areas saw more than 3 feet of snow overnight, and up to 7 feet is predicted. For the Sierras, it's going to be mind-blowing. Now let's take a look at the power outages. Still 50,000 without power. And there's more snow headed that way, and we're going to have the full forecast in a minute, as California is staring down what could be one of the most significant November storms in recent years. Here we're looking at high-resolution models, which are forecasting up to 7 feet of snow in the next 48 hours across the Sierras. Quite impressive. Shut up, Al! Get in your hole! And on top of that, over 6 inches of rain could fall across the mid-elevations in Southern California. This could trigger landslides or debris flows, and we could see some bad things happening over the next 48 hours. But this is a fire-ending season storm, so that's a pretty good thing, as it's snowing on Snoqualmie Pass.
Hi, Leah. Well, as you can see, we've got falling snow right now. A little bit different than it was last night. Last night we had kind of more of that crystalline snow. Tonight it's coming in a little bit more pellety, a little bit more like grapple, but still snow nonetheless. A couple of big shouts out. First of all, Washington State Patrol has been doing some fantastic work. In fact, you take a look right behind me. They just stopped a person who was getting a little squirrely out there, doing exactly what you're not supposed to be doing in this type of driving. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment, but the big concern through this weekend was kind of a dry run. And again, WashDOT did a magnificent job of keeping the roads clean and clear there, so they are passable, but it was just kind of a trial run for people. The big concern as we go into these cold temperatures will be seeing conditions not exactly like this, but the possibility of some freezing, black ice, and maybe even some snow on the roads. We talked with a driver earlier who had some advice for people who may be encountering those types of conditions.
It sounds like a terrible situation, especially with all the snow forecasts coming, and we'll get to those models in a minute. And it is definitely going to be Sierra snow and valley rain. So we'll leave you links to these articles if you're interested. There was also another major power outage that left tens of thousands in the dark along the Wasatch Front. This one was not triggered by the weather. However, now to the big story. Why a named subtropical storm in the Atlantic worries forecasters? Well, because some of the biggest storms have occurred in November. Yeah, and they started as subtropicals, like Lenny, which got up to 250 kilometer per hour winds, and Paloma and Otto and Kate in 1985. Now, this is going to track and move through the Grand Bahama, which is good news because it's going to actually help break up the storm. So let's come over here to the key message for subtropical storm Nicole. Hurricane conditions are possible across portions of northwestern Bahamas and southeast to east central Florida beginning Wednesday, where a hurricane watch has been issued. Tropical storm conditions are possible in the tropical storm watch areas in Florida and Georgia beginning Wednesday. You can see here the track of the storm, and it's making landfall. Well, let's come and take a look at the bigger picture here. Right east of Okeechobee. So that's where landfall is going to happen. That's right where West Palm Beach is. According to this model, it's going to make landfall as a hurricane after it passes the Grand Bahama here and strengthens to a Cat 1 perhaps. The current models we have are not showing it get that strong, but just to take a look, let's take a look at some of the spaghetti models. This is going to become a nor'easter after it runs its course through Florida. So heads up, the entire East Coast later this week could see some action. As you can see, just a few models bringing it inland. Most of it will hover offshore, so most of that activity will go all the way up to Hatteras and maybe not affect the Delmarva. But Grand Bahama is right in line with all the models. You should be preparing now, as well as areas, 100 miles north and 100 miles west of West Palm. That could be all in the area of hurricane force winds. So be prepared. Don't be scared. Here's the windy model from the ECMWF, which has the highest winds and only showing it around 64 miles an hour here during landfall. But that wind field is going all the way up to Jacksonville in this model. So be prepared for heavy wind and rain along the East Coast Thursday morning and all day Thursday for Florida. And there's the system. You can see the highest wind staying offshore even as the eye moves onshore, according to this model. And so our prayers go out to the people Tampa and south that were hit by Ian, because they're going to get more rain. In fact, treacherous amounts of rain, up to 4 inches. Let's take a look at that atmospheric river coming in on California. Take a look. This is the big day, Wednesday. This is the big day when flooding rains and 4 feet of snow in just a few hours may fall. And so this is going to linger all the way until Thursday morning. So this is a pretty big event for the Sierras, as well as the entire state of Nevada, the entire state of Utah through Thursday. Then when this system makes its way through the Four Corners region, and then it bombs out. Take a look at what this baby does right here. At the end of the week here, Thursday, November 10th, is going to be a big day, maybe a blizzard into Friday for North and South Dakota. So heads up. Big things are happening. At the same time this blizzard is hitting, this hurricane is in Florida. Holy mackerel. Here is the total precipitated moisture, and you can see just about 4 inches in some areas from Lake Okeechobee all the way up through Georgia, South Carolina on the coast, North Carolina, Virginia, the Delmarva, New Jersey, Long Island, all the way up to New England. So big event, and there we're going to have the potential for precipitated water up to 5 inches. That's up to 5 feet of snow in just the next few days. Oh my goodness. Let's take a look at the snow, shall we? We can always just click a button. Total snowfall. And here we are. Now watch that snow pile up in the Sierras there, how quick that is. And once it hits white, it means more than 4 feet. So there's a large area here of more than 4 feet showing up. And the biggest winner in the Northern Plains looks like North Dakota, which could be picking up to 3 feet of snow in a wide swath. So big system moving in, hurricane hitting Florida, increasing tropical threat to the southeast, powerful storm in effect in the west. The Atlantic tropical season continues as the National Hurricane Center is monitoring the track of subtropical storm Nicole. As the system tracks westward towards Grand Bahama and West Palm, be prepared. Meanwhile, a powerful storm will be affecting much of the west with heavy snow, high winds, and coastal impacts through the middle of the week. Further upstream, another strong storm will affect Alaska with heavy precipitation. They've been getting hammered as well. Winter storm watches and warnings up. Take a look, click your county, and here we have tropical storm warnings and watches all the way up to Delaware. So big stuff going on with the weather. Now, 2 earthquakes rattle New England this weekend. I think I got an email, someone living up there felt something, and it may have very well have been an earthquake. East Providence, Rhode Island, while most of New England was experiencing record-breaking warmth, some parts of the region have been rattled by earthquakes. In fact, one offshore here, magnitude 2.1 off Nantucket, and another one right in the center, New Hampshire, 2.3. So 2 quakes in interesting places, as well as an earthquake reported near the Utah-Arizona border, and this one measuring in at 3.8. This happening Sunday morning, 1 mile east of Colorado City. Could be some nefarious fracking going on there. We've just had some recent activity in the west while we're recording 3.3 near Walker, California, and another one closer to the coast here in Covello, 2.6 kicking off. Another quake up here in BC. This is where that volcano is that we're keeping a close eye on. So, and this is a 3.0 in Wrangell, Alaska. No other quakes of note. Everything looks pretty calm. Let's get to space weather, where we did have an unexpected, seemingly out of nowhere, from AR 3141, located in the northeast quadrant. It popped off an M5.2 solar flare. It was a very fast flash. It was not a long duration flare by any means. It was quite impulsive. But according to some of the models, and there was a mild R2 level radio blackout during the event, there are some models showing here. We're going to go over to the ISWA Signet streamer that a small CME was generated, but very insignificant and being pushed away from Earth, which is this yellow ball. So that's good news. But something interesting happened here. We had a shift in the BZ about 12 hours ago, and we had a rapid rise in density. So that's sent us into geomagnetic instability. And let's refresh this. This is showing KP 4.5. Yeah, and rising, KP 4.67. So the KP index continues to rise with that shift in telemetry. We'll keep a close eye on that for you. Could go into geomagnetic storm a little later today, and that means tonight there might be auroras. So get out and look up if you're in those northern latitudes as the aurora belt rotates itself around. Oh, it just fizzled out a little in this last update. But before we go, do us a favor, come over and check out our newest channel, Sacred Geography. We just got a video up, the introduction to the channel, if you, so to speak, where you can learn a little bit about the background on the topic and some of the things we will be talking about on the channel. Thanks to the 700 plus that have subscribed already. We appreciate you, and that's a boom. To knowledge, proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance. Thanks to all the heroes that share these videos and the support we have. We couldn't do it without you. We love you. Be safe.